So, what we're going to see today is the interplay between a variety of systems as we go through an agentic media buy. So, you'll see us start with an agent powered by Scope 3. The agent will then communicate with the seller agent on the Swivel side. And then you will see finally, as the agentic transaction comes to a conclusion, you will see the objects made in the downstream ad serving platform. All of this orchestration is done by agents. It's a real demonstration, and it also includes a real publisher, our publishing partner, LG Ads. You'll see us demonstrate a human in the loop to approve the media buy. And lastly, you'll see creatives trafficked for the end of the execution. So we're excited to show you what this looks like.
Awesome. So I'll be acting as the principal buyer. And just to start off with, I've created a brand agent already in our system. And so I've named it Ematini. It's a non-alcoholic brand. And I could be doing this through our, Scope 3 buying agent portal, but as we're here today to talk about AdCP protocol, I wanted to do it through a, generic interface, which is why I'm using Claude Desktop today. But we are still using the underlying Scope 3 API. And so you'll see that I was able to set up these really cool standards and stories, which help add more targeting and information to my brand agent, like, who I'm targeting in terms of no one underage, people in their mid-20s, late 40s. And so that is going to really help us when we go and create the media buy later on. And then the other thing that I've set up for us in advance of us creating the media buy is obviously our campaign on the Scope 3 side. So I've done that with a budget of $20,000, and we want this to raise awareness for my brand. So before we, dig into actually creating the media buy, Joe, do you want to share what's going on the Swivel side right now?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. So now we're over here in the Swivel seller agent. So right now we haven't received any proposals, so we have blank proposals. But inevitably, this proposal will be submitted from the buyer agent Scope 3. We'll receive it in this little holding pen. We're going to return ad products. The way the workflow works, we receive the media brief. The media brief includes details about the objective of the campaign, who we want to target, outcomes we're trying to achieve, and then we suggest ad products. These are ad products powered by LG. You see things like LG Channels, LG Content Network, etc. So after we receive the proposal and we approve it, we'll then navigate to LG's downstream ad serving platform, SpringServe. Today, at this moment, this area is empty, but we will see as the objects are created from the proposed media buy into the ad serving platform. So next up, let's
see whether or not my campaign likes any of your products.
Let's do that.
Okay. So I'm going to discover the applicable products for my campaign. And this is going to actually talk to the sales agents I have registered within Scope 3. So in this case, it's going to reach out to Swivel and say what products you have available. And what should happen is the products you just saw configured within Swivel should appear here if they're applicable to my campaign. Okay, awesome. It did find the 2 guaranteed video products. And this is so important because it means that when we're creating these campaigns, we're creating our media buys, we're really able to actually target inventory that's out there that we want to run on. Yeah, Joe, anything else you want to say about these products?
I think ad product discovery is a net new innovation for media buying in general. I think out of all the inventory in the world, if you think about kind of how programmatic is transacted today, you have a bid stream with a never-ending array of, bids to choose from. In an agentic buy, there's much more kind of curation. The probability of being successful in an agentic media buy is exponentially higher than if you created a programmatic campaign and you just spent some budget on some random requests. I think that's part of the beauty of the agents is that they're working to fulfill the outcome of the advertiser. And they're doing that in an orchestration by both combining intelligence on the buy side and the sell side.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so now we've found out what products are available for us. Let's just go create our media buy. So I didn't want to type this, so I've got to copy and paste it. But we're going to create a new buy on my awareness campaign. So I remember I've got my campaign up here. We're specifically going to target the LG content network. So I wanted video content. This is, a guaranteed product format of video. So this is perfect for me. So I'm going to create a new buy. I'm going to do a 10K budget, $20 CPM, and I want even pacing. And then the other thing that I'm going to do at the same time is I'm going to create a tactic. And a tactic on our side is really allowing us to create more specific targeting from our campaign. So we've got our campaign, that's like generally what we want to do. And then our tactic is going to allow us to have specific targeting like US, premium CTV, bring in all that greatness in terms of our stories and standards. So we got our tactic, we've created our media buy. And this is just in draft, so I could look at it before I actually execute it against Swivel. So now I'm going to go and execute this media buy against Swivel to get approval. And so, awesome. It's been submitted. Joe, why don't we see what's going on in Swivel?
All right, so we are back in the seller agent UI. Don't see any proposals. Let's refresh the screen. We have a proposal. So you can see we have a buyer reference here. We have a promoted offering. If I navigate here to this proposal, you can see the brief that was submitted by the buyer agent. And then importantly, you can see the opportunity to approve the proposal in the bottom right. So let's go ahead and approve this media buy.
Awesome.
So approval sets into motion a series of agents on the Swivel side. Most of those agents are trafficking agents specifically for the purpose of creating the downstream objects that will power the media buy. So the expectation here is that inside the LG ad server SpringServe, where we saw no objects created earlier, we should begin to populate the hierarchy that would execute the media buy. So depending on what ad server that is, that includes things like campaigns, line items, and inevitably creative. So I'm now going to navigate back to the SpringServe instance. This is LG SpringServe instance. Right now it's empty. Let's give it a refresh. And
awesome.
Voila, we have objects. Here is the campaign. Underneath the campaign, it appears as though we have line items. And on top of that, the line items include the targeting. And importantly, it includes the association to the correct supply or the correct inventory to kind of close the loop on the trafficking. So now that this element is complete and the objects are made in the downstream ad platform, theoretically, we're in an asynchronous process. The media buy has been created, yet we do not have creative. Frequently, you see media buys are executed and creatives are sent after the media buy is complete. So now we're going to fast forward towards our start date when we receive creative from the agentic buyer.
Cool. So let's go back into scope 3. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to get it. So you can see here before is that it was pending. Joe went and approved it. And so now in our system, we should have gotten that back and we can see that it was approved and activated. So this is that async interaction that's happening. Okay, so let's take its advice. Let's add some creatives to our media buys. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a creative. So in this case, it's just going to be a very simple creative. It's an MP4 with just a media URL. But of course, you can do so much more with creatives. Joe, you want to give us some examples?
Sure. I mean, I think one of the advantages of an agentic transaction is that you're not limited to what is or is not supported in a bid stream. You can execute on things like home screens or sponsorships or pause ads because everything's trafficked into the downstream ad server. The seller agent knows what to do with the creative files. It knows what to tell the buyer agent in order to correctly execute. And many different things that have never been available commercially to a buyer without using kind of a direct sales technique will now be enabled.
Yeah. And one thing to also keep in mind is, I wrote in this prompt to create the creative, but in future, this might not be a human. This might be a, agent that's actually going to go and create the creative, because the next thing that we do is we need to assign it to our media buy. So we've assigned it, and then we've gone and updated the media buy that we created before, and we showed you in Swivel. And at this point, right, it still then has to get actually approved through the creative process. But as you can see, we've created the creative. So now let's jump over to Swivel with Joe to see what happened.
We're back to Swivel. Look what we have in our creatives tab. We have the Imatini video creative. A human in the loop will approve this video creative. I think human in the loop is kind of a critical thing. I think everybody that's watching probably wants to know what the humans continue to do. I think you can see that, prompting is still a skill, approval is still a skill. But more importantly, it's important that, especially for things like premium video or things like a home screen execution, that someone looks at and approves a creative. I'm now navigating back to the LG SpringServe instance. And what I'm looking for now is a creative in the creatives tab. And there it is. The Swivel agentic Imatini video creative is present, and thus completes a successful agentic media buy.
Amazing. So we did that from end to end with our agents, and let's go make some money with this now. So just to recap, my agent working on behalf of our buyer, our brand, was able to communicate with the Swivel sales agent. It was able to figure out what products inventory was out there. It was able to go and create that media buy and ultimately create and add creatives to it.
And the seller agent, today is representative of one seller, but you can imagine a future where an individual seller could have hundreds, thousands, millions of ad products, as well as, a full array of different sellers to choose from. And the Swivel seller agent will select ad products based off the media brief, such that even in an infinite world of ad products, we're selecting ones that have the highest probability of producing an outcome. So today, small scale, but you can see how in the future there's a scalable architecture here.
Yeah, this is so cool. It's so cool to actually do the first agentic media buy with you. So really awesome.
All right, Emma, really appreciate this time.
Absolutely.
Look forward to many more of these in the future.
Fantastic.